This week's Unikernel application spotlight. This week we are looking at a implementation of ICANN's new RDAP protocol, which is basically deprecating whois, and so it's this is written in Rust. I don't think it's fully implemented. Just putting that out there, but it does give you something that's kind of easy to access and cool to play with. And so, let's say you're going to throw down the $3,000, $4,000 it takes to become a registrar. You would be interacting a lot with this type of tooling. So it does a lot of stuff. And I just pulled up Aaron's page to kind of walk down. This is actually, like, if you just want to read more, you can read into this. But it shows you how like RDAP's different from whois. So, it uses just normal REST interface versus like the custom protocol that whois was. And, that's really a function of its time. Again, a lot of software is like this. It's a function of time. And, in particular, there's a couple different things like talking to other regional internet registrars and, dealing with IDNs versus LDHs. LDHs is the letter digit hyphen, which is also kind of older school, before we jumped into the world of 9 billion people on planet Earth. But anyways, they got the Bootstrap server on GitHub and so forth. But just to give you an API overview, what you can actually do. So IPs, we can look at networks, we can look at handles, we can do top and bottom searches. We can also, so this is all IP. Then you can do domains. You can look up domains, do your reverse domain, yada, yada, yada. ASNs, so same thing. You can look them up, deal with them. All this sort of, cruddy operations that you might want to use. ASNs, obviously, autonomous system numbers. And so that's if you just want to have your own network or you want to use more advanced features like, putting an IP in multiple locations around the globe. Entity searches. So all the stuff that you would find. This is their GitHub. This is the crate. And the README in this crate actually has a lot more information than the GitHub does. I don't exactly know why, but this is, if you actually start using this, this is where some of the documentation is on using this specific implementation. So we can just kind of pop in and show you how it works. So we made a package for it. There was one like tiny fix, and I will show you what I actually did there. Let's go ahead and arch it. All right, so this guy's up and running, and then I downloaded the local Mac tools to use this locally. And I loaded it up with some examples. So real quick, when I was creating this, I added some custom data. And so I gave it an entity of foo with email of Joe and Joe user. And then I gave a name server of ns1 at example.com. So again, this is like if you want to be your own registrar, this would be like a solid use case to where you actually control the records and you provide the lookups and so forth. That's what this server is really designed for. Now, again, this particular implementation, it's kind of an example implementation, right? So what that means is that A, not all the API is there, but B, it's not really intended to be the best RDAP server, or at least that's not my reading of this. It's really, you can hook it in and make your own type of thing. You can use that as a library. So some of the stuff that you might use in this, like how you load data, that could be done differently, right? So anyways, we loaded these two, and suppose we want to query it. So real quick, these are some of the binaries if you just download the release that you'll get, and we're just going to use this client one. right? We're gonna turn off TLS, and then we're also setting, we're telling it which server to use. So in this case, it's this, which I need to actually change. Let's change that. So 192.168, 68.133, and then we're gonna query for NS1, right? So they got this nice little TUI interface, terminal user interface here. I kind of like it. It's cool. Like, I like TUIs. You know, I still use a couple of them like Mutt. However, from a practical standpoint, you'd probably be using JSON. So, let's see. So example.com in JSON. So you could just pipe it to JSON like this, 132, 133. And so you can get your JSON out. So that's great. And that allows us to work with it pretty easily. Yeah, so, you know, if you want to run your own registrar, you would start looking into using some of these tools. ICANN is a great organization as far as the internet goes, but I would advise you to play around and, you know, try stuff out. Okay, till next time.